What is up, people? It is Hunter. I'm here with Jordan and Jake. This is episode 534 of the Pesky Report, brought to you by Beyond the Monster. We have a special guest with us, Boston Red Sox prospect Caleb Berry. Caleb, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I think everybody's doing good. It's a little bit of a last minute group. We had some creative changes at the last minute, but we figured it out. We're all here, and I'm just gonna start it off right away because we talked about it for a couple seconds before the pod, so I feel like this is the appropriate place to start. Obviously, 30 to 40 minutes before this all happened, the Red Sox made a trade. Yastinson Garcia, Jesus Travieso were traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates for 3 different players. But we want to talk to you right now about Jesus Travieso because you, before we got on, you said that he was the first person you ever called a bullpen for in Salem. So just would love to hear your reaction to everything that just went down.
I mean, I'm obviously not excited for that trade to happen because I was a big fan of Travie, and I saw him definitely going a long way in baseball for the Red Sox, but I see him jumping through the Pirates org really fast. I mean, he's a guy that signed for 10 grand, and when I walked into the locker room the first day, like I thought he was the manager's kid. Like that's how young Travie looks. Like he's 150 pounds, 5'10", like they're throwing every weight gain supplement they can at the kid, and it's like, does he need it? Does he not? I don't know. He already throws 100, but I mean, I'm sad to lose that kind of a teammate too. Like he was a grinder. He just kept his nose down, wasn't loud, wasn't obnoxious. Like he literally was just like the calm, quiet grinder. And then when he got onto the bump, I remember catching his first bullpen, like he was doing a velo ladder, and his first is like 88. And I'm like, okay, like he'll probably top out at like 90, 92. And then it was 92, 95, 97, and then he popped to 8 in a bullpen, and I was like, what is this kid on? He's 150 pounds. Like, it just doesn't look like it could ever happen out of someone's body that looks like that, but I hate losing him, but I think he's going to go a really long way in their org.
Well, the good news is it's the Pirates, so they won't pay him in 5 years. Maybe the Red Sox will have him back.
Hopefully so.
But I'll throw it to Jake or Jordan, whoever wants to ask you something.
I'll go. So thanks again for coming on, Caleb. Let's talk a little bit about your journey. It's been you've had quite a few different sort of stops along the way to your way to the big leagues, or not the big leagues, to the professional, playing professionally. Hopefully to the big leagues sooner rather than later. Can you tell us, just the folks, because again, not to. Maybe folks that are listening to this don't know a lot about Caleb Berry, just having played at low A this year for the Red Sox and being new to the organization. Tell us a little bit about sort of your journey of how you got to be in the Red Sox organization this year.
Yeah, no, that's a extremely fair point. Like, I'm not a very well-known name, and that's not shocking. Like, I started out like I was, a above average high school player, but I wasn't like knocking on any Division I doors out of high school. Like I got asked to go to a Division II for my first school, and I personally thought like that's as good as it's going to get. So I went to Lincoln Memorial University for 2 years and kind of struggled through some injuries there. I had Tommy John as I was going into college and got that cleared up. And then as soon as I got that cleared up and was healthy enough to play, I tore my meniscus and went through that process, got healthy enough to play in the fall, tore it up in the fall, and then tore my other meniscus as soon as I started a game in the spring. So there's 2 years down kind of in college baseball, and I haven't really done much. So I was really looking for a different look. Like, to me, the goal wasn't really professional baseball at that point. It was more so just like, I want to have fun playing the game again. I've been hurt for 2 years. haven't really gotten much out of college baseball. And what I had heard was it's going to be the best years of your life. So I transferred, and luckily, I mean, crazy story. The head coach at Milligan, Skylar Barnett, he was someone that had met me when I was 13 years old at a catching camp at a local college right down the road. And he threw me a bone and like actually threw me a pretty big scholarship just off of knowing more so the person that I am than the baseball player. And got lucky enough to go down to Milligan, and they didn't know what they were getting. They literally brought me on a visit, and I'd never played a game before in college baseball. So I wound up committing to them. I just thought the environment was right, and the fit was right, and it panned out. Like I had a great hitting coach there, Seth McLemore, who just went back to App State, and he's getting ready for his year there. But that guy really kind of changed my career. And once I got to Milligan and started working with Mac and working with Coach Barnett on some catching stuff, like I finally got a little bit of like notice, just at least around locally, and got a chance to play in the Appy League. And that was the first time that I got some like notices from scouts. I started getting some links to prospect pages and started getting some teams hitting me up and wanting video and stuff like that. So that really helped me out going through the Appy League experience. And then I had another year at Milligan that I went back, and we went to a regional for our first time in school history there, and I had a really good year and finally started developing like the power tool. And then I kind of locked in. The year before I had some power and some pop and like had some average here and there, but I needed to stop chasing as much. And then the next year I was like second or third in the nation in walks in AIA baseball. And that sounds great and all, but it's like in my head at that point, when I'd started getting looks, I was like, okay, this isn't good enough. Like, and our coaches recognized that at Milligan as well, which I'll give them props to that. Is like our coach had a conversation with me, and he was like, hey, we realize that you want to play professional baseball now, and you realize that that's actually a possibility, and we want to help you do that. So he started helping me reach out to Division I schools to try and get me on that stage and see if I could make what slim possibility there is to get to pro ball as a fifth year. Like, I mean, it's a tough route. Like, they don't like fifth years. I mean, that's why I play with a bunch of 18-year-old Latin kids, because they want young guys that still have a lot to go and they still want to peak. But that actually wound up getting me my offer to Michigan State. And then from there, it was just kind of doing what I was doing at Milligan. And I didn't really think this was going to become reality because I got done with Michigan State and I hadn't really heard from anybody. Like, I hadn't been talked to by any scouts or anything like that. And it was literally 4 days after the draft, and I was coaching in the Northwoods League. And 2 days after I had gotten engaged. And I think 3 days after I'd committed to a job at Tennessee Tech as the volunteer coach. So, I mean, there was a lot going on in that moment of like, holy crap, now my life's going to take a complete turnaround of like, now you're not going to coach anymore. You're actually going to get another chance to play. But yeah, I walked into Fort Myers at 158 pounds because I'd been coaching in the Northwoods all summer, eating ham and turkey sandwiches for pregame meal. But now we're here and
Yeah.
went through OTP, and yeah, now I'm just chilling at the house, working through the off season.
So I was gonna the only follow up I had to that was just it sounds to me like you didn't have any expectation with the draft that you were going to get picked as a even like as a fifth year like senior grad school like sign for whatever sign for get taken in the maybe even in the top 10 picks of a team or maybe in the 11 to 15 range or whatever as like a low dollar sign to be able to just fill out the draft board for a team, and then they can use the savings on other guys in the draft. That wasn't even you didn't even expect that was going to happen.
No, I mean, and I don't think that it's funny. I was having this conversation in the summer with one of my guys that I was coaching. He's at Troy University right now. He's actually killing it. He'll probably be drafted this year. His name's Aaron Piasecki. And I was talking to him, and he was like, basically testing me. He was like, "Hey, did you ever have like teams reach out, or like did you have like a prospect page?" I was like, "Yeah, I did." And he was like, "Pull it up. Like, what teams did you have on there?" And I opened up my prospect link for the first time in I don't know how long, probably 6 months. I didn't look at it throughout the season and stuff. Like I try not to look at that kind of stuff while you're playing because that's not really the motivation. But I pulled it up and there was 2 teams that had sent me questionnaires after the season was over that I didn't fill out because I had 0 expectation of this happening, but
Yeah.
it was literally like I just didn't see it coming to fruition until that kid looked at me and he was like, "Dude, you hit 300 with 6 home runs, like, and you're a catcher." Like, someone would probably want that to see if anything's gonna happen, and it did happen, which absolutely blew my mind, but
Yeah.
yeah, there was 0 expectation of this happening.
And just from from the standpoint of like Hunter and I, we talk about the Red Sox farm system every week during the season on our show, and the Red Sox have had this interesting journey as an organization in terms of the catching depth in the minor league system, where there was like a time, like I can't, it was like a year and a half-ish or so ago, where the Red Sox were like, wow, like it's like they have like a ton of guys, and then Kyle Teal gets traded, Johan Fran Garcia gets hurt. Brooks Brannon is a guy that I don't really know what about his future as being a catcher. And all of a sudden it's like, Ronaldo Hernandez doesn't really work out. Like they move Nathan Hickey Nathan Hickey kind of moves off the spot. There were a few other guys like Steven Scott was another guy that was a name that kind of moved out. And all of a sudden it was like, there's no catching depth. Like there's just none of that. And then I literally just tweeted this out because of the trade that just happened. Where it was kind of stunning that the Red Sox didn't draft a catcher. Like they got through 20 picks and did not draft a catcher. And so wasn't because that was the stunning part. But what wasn't a surprise to me was that the Red Sox were the perfect organization to go out and try to get an undrafted free agent catcher in your position. And it just so happened that it was you. so it
Yeah.
was so there was definitely a need and an opportunity there, and that's you. So anyway,
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, when I showed up, guys were talking about Diego Gloria closing games out. Being I think he had like 6 appearances. Like he was every time they needed to throw a position guy, they were throwing Diego, but like there was like a lot of talks around. It's like, God, if we move somebody, what's gonna happen? And luckily G Rod showed up and that kid, if there's another guy in the org that I'm like, I got somebody to really compete with, it's G Rod. Like that guy's a stud. I think he's got a really bright future going for him. So I got to compete with him, but I love watching that guy play. Like he's really good at the game. So, and we've traded for a lot here recently. I've been seeing that, but I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, we got a lot of new faces showing up whenever spring training rolls around. So it'll be cool to see what that depth looks like in a couple of months.
So talking about and you went through your kind of struggles with injuries early on in your collegiate career. But we hear so much about like it feels like every pitcher now is like they either have had Tommy John or they haven't yet. And like that's kind of where we've come as a baseball society. Like every once in a while, an outfielder will pop up and need Tommy John, but you don't really hear a lot of catchers getting it. Like, what's the kind of recovery process like? And like I don't know if it's necessarily a mental hurdle coming back and, being able to like let it rip down to second base again. Like, what's kind of that whole process like in coming
It
back from Tommy
is
John?
it is very difficult. I mean, because I feel like one thing that helps pitchers get through it a little bit easier is like they control and they have a lot more time to get a throw off than necessarily like a catcher or a shortstop. Even outfielders, they have a lot more time to gather and get into their throw the way that they would like to. So that was an interesting like hurdle to jump is like how do I get this throw off in a timely manner especially when I'm kind of worried about what does my arm feel like. So, I mean, that was a hard hurdle to get over, but it's more just a mental block than anything. Like when you go through the proper recovery and you know it's safe, like you can put everything into it and you're not really scared that it's going to blow again. Like if anything, I've heard that after the surgery, the tendon that they put in when it turns into a ligament, it's almost twice as thick as your original UCL. And you still hear guys blow out again after, but more times than not, guys come back throwing harder and they're probably going to be healthier longer than they were previous to having it. So, I mean, for me, I've had, I think, one or two MRIs post TJ, and every time it's come back good. I got very lucky and I had a great surgeon that operated on me. And I think he was under supervision of Andrew Johnson, one of the leading surgeons in it. So I got very lucky. I had great surgeon and haven't really had any problems out of it.
You got to Salem at the end of July last year, so you spent the last 2 months in Salem. So I'm just curious, like your thoughts on the team, the area, the ballpark, because that's something we discuss a lot, is how that ballpark is just not very hitter friendly. It's we always, whenever someone moves up to Greenville, that's always a big thing, is like, oh, maybe we'll start to see a little bit more power from them, whatever. So I'm just curious, like how you felt about the ballpark, the fans, the atmosphere, and then just the your thoughts on the rebrand to the Salem Ridge-Yaks.
Yeah, I mean, Salem was awesome. I honestly, I really enjoyed it. Like, I had a great time there, and maybe that's just because I've not really been to that many places that had like a great atmosphere. Like the only place that I've ever played at that had, a good atmosphere was in the Appy League. And I played for the Johnson City Doughboys, and that year I think we broke every attendance record there was. Like we
That's an
averaged
awesome name.
3,300 fans a night. Like on good nights we'd have 5,000. So I mean, that was a really, really cool atmosphere to play in. And Salem's not that every day. I mean, you'll get your Saturdays where they're over 1,000, maybe 2,000 in the house, and it roars. You hit a double, you can't hear yourself, think. But I can't imagine playing in front of 40,000. Like that would be insane to do something like that. But for me, it's tough. Like I never really look back. Like I love playing the position that I do because I can play the entire game and I don't have to look at fans. Like, and some people might think that's terrible. Like, oh, you never look back and look at the fans. Well, it's like, no, I'm busy doing my job. Like, I think my job is to be completely locked in on the 8 other guys that are in front of me and what other players from the other team are standing out there. So I do enjoy that part of my job, is not having to turn around and not look at those people. You hear him every now and then, the guy that's a little too drunk and he's really loud that night. Like you'll hear that guy, but for me, it's not really a big deal to play in front of the fans or anything like that. I think the facilities that they have for player development there are awesome. I mean, they're pretty much everywhere that you go in our org. The player development is about the same. Every cage that we have is going to have hit tracks in it. Every single, you know, every drill that we do, we're going to have the same implements for that. The only thing that we don't have is Traject, the pitching machine with the projector on it, like stuff like that. But everything else is readily available whenever we need it. But as far as the team goes, I thought we had a great atmosphere. And I felt like we had a really good team going. It was always sad when you lose a guy that's bumping up to Greenville. Like we lost Gonzo at the end of the year and we lost Mousse at the end of the year. It was sad to see those guys go, but it's also sick to see them move up and go to Greenville. But obviously the goal is to get to Greenville. I've heard it's amazing, but I like Salem. I hope I'm going back there at the beginning of the year. Like if I could jump straight to Greenville, it'd be sick. But I'd be excited to go back to Salem. They put us up in nice apartments there. There was actually a super nice setup. Like I got to Salem and I was like, wow, I didn't live in a single apartment my entire college career that was anywhere near this nice. So as far as how they're treating players in Salem, I think they're doing an amazing job. Like I think our org, from what I've heard from guys that are in other orgs and stuff, like I think the Red Sox are doing it the right way. The rebrand is interesting. That's I don't want to deep dive on that, but it's an interesting move. It gives me Trash Panda vibes. It's I get what they're doing. I don't know. It's probably for merch sales. Obviously, I mean, the ownership is going to want to make money somehow.
Yeah.
So I think a rebrand was smart on their side. I loved wearing the Red Sox name just across my chest as far as it goes. Like it felt extremely professional, but I don't think that wearing a different uniform is going to really change how the job feels. I think it's a shirt that we wear whenever we go out there to play. I don't think it's necessarily a label that changes anything for us. We still know we're in the Red Sox org, and we still are going to go compete for the Red Sox. And we're trying to make it to Greenville. We're trying to make it to the next spot anyway. It's not really a big deal if we stay in what name is on our uniform.
And did they have you rooming with like another 2025 newbie? Did they have you rooming with a catcher, a pitcher? Is there a strategic plan for the rooming, or is it just kind of like, hey, this guy doesn't have a roommate, go stay with him?
They got two different sites. So they had a site that was probably half a mile from the actual field, and that's where most of the Latin guys would stay that didn't have cars, so that they would have the ability to walk if they needed to walk.
Yeah.
And then the other site was about 15 minutes away for all the guys that had cars and that were able to transport themselves back and forth. I stayed with Jay Almer, who just got done playing in the Arizona Fall League. Like,
Yep.
Almer is a great dude. Love that guy. Interesting cat. Likes to walk around with his feet out, and he's big into the grounding and the magnetic field of the Earth, and he's got some crazy conspiracy theories.
So I'm
He'd
interesting.
be a good one to get on the podcast. But no, Almer's a great guy. But yeah, it was really nice the first month having Almer there because I didn't pickle. I actually left my car in Traverse City after I got the call. So I was in Traverse City, Michigan, got the call and just left my BMW up there and then just flew down to Florida and then wound up with my signing bonus, got a new truck. So I actually drove over to Johnson City where Milligan is, and one of my old teammates was a car salesman that linked me up with a truck. So yeah, but the housing was great. Everything was great in Salem. I had no complaints.
So I am just curious about something that you brought up about the atmosphere at, Salem and comparing it to other places that you've been at. You did play. You played 1 year of Division I at Michigan State, which is not necessarily a school that is, they're known for other sports. So was there the atmosphere at those games, was it kind of lacking? Not really the kind of thing that made you sort of jazzed up to go play there? Like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I was just interested in what that experience was like.
No, I enjoyed my time at State. Like, it was a great spot to play. I mean, it's just not a fan-friendly environment when every game that you play is probably going to be our average game time temp was probably 45 degrees outside. Like, nobody wants to be out in that. And that's fair, especially in a midweek. And for some reason at State, like, they weren't able to get the liquor license because when you're at the football fields and the hockey stadium and everything, apparently the liquor license doesn't carry over from those sites that are close to each other to the baseball
Wow.
field, which was obviously that puts a dent into fans too. Like, when you think of a baseball game, you think of going to the game and you get a beer and a dog. Like, that's what you do. It's the more enjoyable fan experience, but
And
it
if
depended on
it's 45 degrees, you really need that. I mean,
you
that's
need a beer. That's a fair point. And that just wasn't available at our site, and it was just not as fan friendly as it could be. But once you got to the end of the year and things started to warm up, like, fans would come out and you had a Michigan game. Our first home game was a Michigan game. It was probably 38 degrees outside and spitting a little bit of snow. And we still had like probably 1,000 people come out for that game. So you would get the occasional game here and there that was rowdy. And when we went to Omaha and played in the Big Ten tournament and we played Nebraska, I mean, there was 4,000 Nebraska fans there screaming "Go Big Red." So, I mean, we had games here and there that we would get some crazy fans, but we also would have midweeks where we're playing, Western Michigan or Purdue Fort Wayne, and there's literally 15 people in the stands. So it just depended on the day. And Big Ten baseball is cold, so it's tough.
I'm also curious, going back into your background in baseball, like growing up, the team that you kind of had, or is there a certain player that you sort of modeled your game after that you were like, I want to hit like that guy, or was there a specific catcher that really kind of helped you gravitate to the position? Like, kind of where did you fall into your love with baseball?
I had a few guys that I really, really looked up to. One of them was literally David Ortiz. Like, I love the hand pump, like the big hand pump and coming back down. And if you look back at my swing when I was first got into college, like I had this crazy leg kick that was like the other guy, Ichiro. I loved his leg kick, like the back and forth, because like I grew up around like Smash baseball, like the Power Pros and stuff, and like playing with those guys on PlayStation. Ichiro, Big Poppy, and then the guy that drew me to the catching position was Yadier Molina. Like watching his throwing highlights was like I could watch that all day. Like you could still put me in front of a TV and I could watch 30 minutes of Yadier Molina throwing guys out, and I would sit there and enjoy every second of it. But he was really the guy that got me into it. But it's been so fluid because the position looks completely different than what it did. And Molina went through those phases of like when the position was changing over to one knee. So like lately it's obviously like inspired by a lot of different people. But yeah, growing up it was literally like just your normal big names of like I liked Brian McCann too and Chipper. Like my mom used to yell at the TV watching the Braves games because that's kind of the closest team to Knoxville. But like, Chipper, Brian McCann, Ichiro, Big Poppy, and Yachty. Like those were the crucial guys watching when I was growing up that I could really get behind and was a big fan of those guys.
So you didn't get a ton of time in Salem last year. 7 games, you hit 375, 423 on base percentage. So small sample size, but obviously a very good sample size. But I'm curious what your goals are for this offseason, whether it's putting on muscle, something with conditioning, just working on your defense, something tweaking something in the swing. Like, is there something you personally want to work on? And is there something that the organization has come to you and be like, hey, this is something we want you to look at and figure out over the next upcoming months?
Yeah, I mean, like our big thing is air pull. Like if we want to have success, we have to pull the ball in the air. So that's obviously something that I've been working on. And when I showed up, like I showed up to Salem extremely unprepared. Like I probably got to Salem at 165 pounds, just because again I had no idea this was going to happen. And by the end of Salem, I think I got up to 180. And during this offseason, I've been up to 189. So definitely put on a lot of weight, and I've put on a lot more extra velo and pop, which is something that I was looking for as well. But another thing that I really wanted to work on was just chase rate. Like when I got to Salem, which granted this happens whenever you don't see, like I mean I wasn't even hitting BP for 2 months. So when you show up and your first at bat's off 98 and you haven't touched a bat in 2 months, it's tough to get going again. So I wouldn't say that I was necessarily like trying to accomplish the goals of like let's hit pull side home runs while I was at Salem. Like I wanted to more so show the fact that I can play the game at this level. So my at bats probably look a little more scrappy and a little more anxious to hit than they would be if I have a full off season to prep. So obviously, I'm looking to bring the chase down. Like if you look at the sample size, I struck out way too much when I was in Salem. I struck out over half of my at bats, I want to say. I still got enough hits to
Slightly under 10 strikeouts and 24 at bats under.
yeah. But for me, like crazy strikeout rate. Like I've at Michigan State, I K'd a little more than I wanted to, which I think was speaking to coming up to the next talent level. Like obviously Big Ten pitching is better than NAIA pitching by not as much as you would think, but to the consistent extent of the depth of the bullpen is going to be way deeper. You're not going to see a guy that throws 83. The starter's going to come out and the next guy's still going to be throwing 94. So that kind of prepared me for pro ball a little bit, but I want to bring the chase rate down. I don't want to strike out as much, and obviously I need to slug a little bit more. But above all, it's the catching. Like they brought me into the org and they said, "We know you suck at receiving at the bottom of the zone, and that's what we're really good at teaching." So that's obviously been a huge focus for me as I'm trying to learn to rip it at the bottom of the zone. And if I can figure that out, the arm was good enough while I was in Salem, like averaged probably 82, 83 miles an hour to second base and threw a couple guys out here and there. But yeah, gotta improve on the receiving. And then from there it's just working the bat. But above all, it's the catching.
Obviously, you haven't been in the organization for that long, so it's not like I don't expect you to be like, oh yeah, it's perfect now. But how do you feel the improvements have gone in that you talked about, like the receiving at the bottom of the zone? Is
I
that
think it's
something you
getting
feel
a
like
lot better.
you've grown on? Yeah, okay.
It's getting a lot better. I mean, it's a tough adjustment to make. It's not just the fundamentals of it. It's literally getting caught up to speed, catching like and this sounds crazy, but I think catching the shapes that you're trying to catch is a little bit harder than hitting them sometimes. Like because we're trying to hit the misses, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
we're not trying to hit their best pitch, but like when you're trying to catch their best pitch and make it look as good as possible, like catching an 88-mile-an-hour sweeper at the bottom of the zone and moving it cleanly is a very hard, mechanic to learn. Like it's not just pulling off the mechanic; it's trying to pull off the mechanic while catching, stuff and shapes that you haven't been exposed to. Like when I got to Salem, I learned what cut ride was. Like I haven't ever caught guys that, they cut it and it rides. So trying to figure out how to catch that ball at the top of the zone and top rail it and bring it back down, like that's a tough thing to execute because the pitch is doing something that makes it extremely hard to pull that off. But I think, I mean, Tyson Blazer's our catching coordinator, and like the guy's insane. Like he has us do some insane drills, and they work. Like he will. I've been cup checked plenty of times trying to learn how to catch at the bottom of the zone, but like that's how you get it done. He challenges us, and I've got Chase Illig, Kyle Schmidt, like all those guys that I've been working with in the org snap, like they do an amazing job of like teaching that because they have to be able to teach it to everyone that comes in because no one that comes in knows how to do it. Like very few guys coming out of college baseball. Like everybody saw Bodine last year at Coastal, like just absolutely destroy umpires. Like he was ripping stuff that was 5 balls out of the zone and getting strikes out of that. And that's because you were witnessing someone that does it at a pro level in college, and like college umpires just aren't used to that. Like to the college eye last year, like I thought I was a pretty decent receiver, and then I got into the org and they were like, "Oh, by the way, you're terrible at this." Which was like, "Thank you. Please tell me that I suck at something because that gives me a route and at least like the realization to get better at it." And not only did they tell me I sucked at it, they gave me every possible way to get better at it, which I really appreciated out of the org. And I think they're doing an amazing job teaching that.
So on top of that, you have to, this is the challenge with catchers, right? Is that you have you're defending the most difficult position. You are having to learn the pitchers, their tendencies. You're having to learn how to be a professional catcher. Oh, and on top of that, you have to learn how to be a professional hitter too. So, how do you balance all of that? How do you like compartmentalize and sort of not let sort of one thing overwhelm the other things that you have to do to be successful as a professional baseball player?
I think it's all in the programming. Like the programming is awesome. Like because exactly how you said it, if you're doing it by yourself, it is impossible. It's legitimately impossible. Like you can't think of every possible thing that you could be doing to get better and plan all of that out for yourself. You obviously, once you get into the org and you've done like a couple of, months of going through, okay, what does a day look like as a professional player? Like, because they've been teaching, like they've brought all these guys up through the org and they finally get them to the bigs. Like, so they have to be doing something right. Like, it's not every guy is necessarily figuring it out for themselves. Like, the programming is the huge side of that. And then from there, it's just more so the mental side. And like, for it looks different for every guy. Like, I mean, some guys they come to the org and like they're trying to learn how to rip it at the bottom of the zone, and like they struggle for 2 years to figure that out because they are working through different stances and stuff. But like the entire time, they're still getting better. Like they're getting one increment like better per day of that. Like, and I don't like to set goals necessarily. Like I'm not going to look into the 2025 or 2026 season and try to set like these goals. Like it's more so just a vision for me because as you said, how do you compartmentalize all of that and like get everything done in one day? The only way that you can do it is like just be extremely detail and process oriented into one singular day and like crush that day. Like to me, it's like I don't even have the time to think of like 2026. Like I suck at receiving at the bottom of the zone right now. Like I need to fix that now, not okay, I need to do this well in 2026. Like it's gonna take 150 days of me practicing this to like even bring it up to par. So it's more so just a vision for me of like, okay, when I wake up in the morning, like first thing I need to do is I need to get my creatine ready and my BCAAs and put that in. And then, it's just like I have to be extremely detail oriented every single day and get all the little tiny things done that day to then like it's just check a box, check a box, check a box. And that's kind of how I keep things from like just overloading me. It's just like check things off until you get to the end of your day. And then if you have the time at the end of your day, you can look back and see what happened and try to reassess and then you come up with a plan for the next day. Like obviously I have focuses when I go into my training, but I just try to be super detail oriented on one day and just accomplish that one day.
My bad, I froze for a sec. Um, just out of curiosity too, you know, the jump that you were talking about going from, the NAIA to, Division 1 and then from Division 1 to the pros, in checking all of those boxes, like how difficult is it to and how different is each, daily routine as you get from each level? Because it seems like, you know, people tend to like oversimplify how you can develop at a position or at a game, just through certain drills and whatnot. But you, like you mentioned, with like the creatine, all that other stuff, as part of your daily routine. How difficult was it to get into that kind of regimented process? As you became a professional.
I think I mean, it's gonna sound crazy, but I think it was easier in the professional environment than it is in the NAIA environment or even the Division 1 environment because the resources are there and like you have the ability, you have everyone in the world trying to help. Like even at the Big 10 level, like you don't have as much help. Like it's a great program over at Michigan State and I think they're doing a great job. It's just that they simply don't have the funding to give us the stuff that they give us with the Red Sox. Like, for example, I said creatine, like I get creatine for free from the Red Sox as opposed to having to go out and buy my own creatine. So like not only are you limited financially, you're limited by, you know, the simple fact of, do you have someone that's programming this for you, or are you having to go out of your way to try and get it done yourself? So like at the NAI level, all of my nutritional needs, like that was me ballparking it. Like, am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? Like, and I've was lucky enough to have help from, you know, previous trainers in high school and stuff that helped me out, but like it's still a lot of guesswork and like, am I doing the right drills? Am I doing this or that? Like I got lucky at Milligan to have a really good hitting coach, but like at the end of the day, like it's impossible for them to give you as much time as the Red Sox coaching staff can give you and as much time as the nutrition department can give you. And, you know, we literally have check-ins with everyone in the org that you come in contact with that helps you out. Like you'll have check-ins with all of those people on a Zoom meeting and just like everyone's present. You know, it'll literally be like for catchers, it's like almost everyone. It's the pitching coach, the manager, you know, nutrition, hitting, everything. Like everyone's there and like they just pump so much more resource into you and they make everything a lot easier that I thought, if anything, I'm living the dream in pro ball and not like trying to like swim. Like I'm not in the deep end trying to fight for air. Like they're giving me everything I could possibly need to get better.
You mentioned Jesus Travieso, Jay Almer, Justin Gonzalez, Andrew Mousse. Um, was there a pitcher and a hitter who kind of stood out to you on the team that it was kind of like, holy hell, this is like a different kind of person. Like this is a different animal than everyone else here.
Gonzo. I mean, it's the elephant in the room, legitimately the elephant. Like that kid's he just is playing a different game than most of our like us are. Like he gets brought up a lot, especially with me, like because when we're talking about like hitting development, at the end of the day, like my exit velo is gonna peak way faster than that guy's is. Like I just don't have the levers. Like at the like he's 6'7", 270, and like his levers are so much longer. Like when I was doing a biomech breakdown, like my torso velocity was like 96 percentile, like crazy, off the charts torso rotation. One of the only guys that I've seen that rotates faster is like Nathaniel Uton. Freak rotational athlete. Like he's 100 percentile. Like he rotates faster than literally everyone.
You want to
But he
talk about somebody
swings,
that needs to put on some weight?
yeah. And if he ever does, it's going to be terrifying because his bat speed is insane. But like Gonzo, he doesn't have to have like he could have 40th percentile torso rotation and he's still going to hit balls harder than 98% of people just because of his size, like his raw size.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It almost gives you a little bit of hope too, because it's like if you look at the stats, like yeah, he's doing great, but like you can still compete with these guys. Like he's gonna be a big leaguer. Like the kid's a freak. Like he's 100% gonna make it to the bigs. But if you stand on the same field and you play with that guy, you kind of realize like, yes, he's gonna be a freak. He'll probably be an all-star. Like insane frame, everything you could ever want. Like I can see why they have him top of the prospect list. Like it all makes sense when you look at that guy. But then it gives you that little bit of hope to be like, hey, I'm playing on the same team as this guy. Like, yeah, he wasn't there at the end of the year, but like at the end of the day, I was playing on the same team as that
Yeah.
guy. So like there is some hope there of like, hey, if you just keep grinding and like you make it through your day to day, like crazy things happen. And crazier things have happened than an undrafted free agent going to the bigs.
And then is there a pitch from someone that you almost like kind of didn't want to catch? Like you talked about how hard it is like to catch a pitch with cut and rise at the top of the zone. Was there like someone's like curveball or something, or it was just like, I know this pitch is going to have me crossed up. Like it's just that gross.
I love Jay Almer, but catching his fastball is not fun. Like it runs so much. Like, you know, guys, catchers talk about like getting thumbed. like he threw a he had a ton of appearances for Salem, and like his fastball never got barreled. Like he was throwing, I mean, it just runs so much, and like he's from a funky arm slot, like it just kind of gets on you, like it's a weird pitch, and like he's a tough guy to catch, like and Ellie De La Cruz, yeah, not Ellie, but De La Cruz, his cutter. His cutter is nasty. Like he's got a really good cutter. He's the first lefty that I've really caught that had like it's kind of cuttery, but also like I would probably profile it more as gyro slider. And he throws it at like 85. He's the first lefty that I've caught that really true like he threw a firm breaker that had like a big shape. So I would say De La Cruz's cutter and then Almer's heater. Like those were some tough catches. Like Travieso, like 101, but it's like ride, really hard to hit, but like easy to catch. It's a straight shape. Like you're getting on top of it. Like there's not two planes of movement. It's literally straight and up. So easier pitch to catch. Like, and then it just depends on like shapes. But for me, it was Almer and De La Cruz's cutter. Like anything that's getting down and into your glove side is just a tough catch.
Um, let's talk a little bit about like your kind of off season day to day, like when you're doing, you know, uh, you've talked a bit about those kind of specific things that you're working on, but like what's a typical day for you this off season? Obviously, you are you're getting ready for next season, but it sounds like there's been some changes, changes in your life in the last few months too. So just tell us a bit more about kind of what the off season's like.
Oh, it's awesome. I'm 24 years old and I'm living in my parents' house. But as far as like the day to day, like I just wake up, make breakfast, and then usually I'm off to a baseball facility around me. It depends on what I'm doing that day. So like whenever I'm doing my bat speed training, I like to go to another facility because they have a hit tracks that's a little bit more accurate than the other facility that I go to. Uh, but usually I go to BC Athletics, Brett Carroll Athletics. He played 10 years in the bigs and has a facility and is gracious enough to let me use that for free. And I'll go over there. There's another catcher there in the Diamondbacks org that I get work in with down there, and we'll do some catching work and then get our hitting stuff in. And it's actually sick. My little cousin, he's really into baseball and like he's in high school. So I'm helping him out and like he'll come in and hit with me. But, it's basically just an hour of hitting. I'll have bat speed day and then I'll have, just some mechanical work like angle drills and everything. And then every single day I'll have some kind of catching drills that I do, always receiving. Like we receive 5 days a week. So I'll do catching drills 5 days a week with receiving different shapes. Like I'll do one day I'll have like angled sliders from a righty and then, high ride heaters at the bottom, or the next day I'll do a lefty cutter on my arm side or my glove or on my glove side, and then I'll do, you know, a righty sinker just to give some different shapes and different work. And then from there, it's the hardest thing is knocking down the nutrition when you're at home because I don't have, the easy access to the cafeteria that I would have at Fort Myers. Like I got lucky enough to go down for OTP this year. So I was there for 2 months, and, you know, being in that complex, it makes being a baseball player so much easier. Like you don't have to go out of your way to do as much. Like you literally just show up and be there for 8 hours, and next thing you know, you're walking out the door and like you've had the most productive possible day as a baseball player that you could have. But when I'm at home, that makes things a little bit tougher. And, sometimes finding a guy to throw with or finding a guy to hit is tough. You have to throw into a net every once in a while. But as far as the day to day, it looks the exact same as what I would do in Salem pregame or I would do in Fort Myers whenever I'm in an off season training program. We keep it pretty much the same. We have 2 high days, 2 moderate days, and a low day throughout the week. And on the high days we do bat speed. On the low days we just do mechanical work, and that's pretty much my weekly regiment.
Um, one of my last questions I've got for you, just sticking with the theme of you being a catcher. People always talk about it's like a defensive position, and anything you can get offensively out of the position is kind of gravy. At the end of the day, that's like the most important defensive position on the field. For you specifically, are you of the same mindset where you want to be known more for your glove and your arm than your bat, or is there about striking a balance? And like, what is I know the org has prioritized certain elements of both, but kind of your own personal preference as far as your own game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to go back to kind of what Jake said. Like, how do you compartmentalize it? Like, for me, it's just like, yes, you have to be known for your glove. Like, at the end of the day, if you're not known for your glove, you don't move. For us in our org, we're graded on 33% of our value is winning pitches at the bottom of the zone. Not even arm side, glove side, top of the zone. It's literally just winning pitches at the bottom of the zone. So for me, yes, I want to be known for framing at the bottom of the zone. Like, if I've accomplished that, that's like the vision for me is I rip stuff from the bottom every single time that it's down there. If I can be known for that, then that means I've probably already made it to Greenville or Portland, because that's how people move. Like, you saw Mousse move last year up to Greenville at the end of the year. Like, that's because the guy was ripping it out of the bottom of the zone. And yes, the hitting is gravy, but I still take a ton of pride in it. Like, it's not something that I slack off in as far as like my training or anything, and like prioritize catching over it, because it's it's a it's a teeter. Like, you can be amazing catching. Like, I mean, the best. Like, you have your Maldonados, but like for me in my head, like, is it realistic that I'm gonna be Martin Maldonado behind the dish? Like, I don't know. He's pretty good back there. Like, I'm not gonna be like, I probably won't be a Yachty. Like, I can't throw 90 from back there. Like, some guys have the ability to do that. So like, for me, just looking at myself and looking at my frame, like, I need to do as many things as I can well to provide as much possible value to myself to elevate myself further in this game, because that's I even take pride in base running. Like, I stole 3 bags while I was at Salem. Like, I'm looking to steal bags. Like, that's more value at the end of the day. Like, I mean, there's not many catchers out there that can run the bases well. Like, that's just not part of the position when you really look into the bigs. Like, how many catchers are out there trying to swipe bags? Not that many. So I'm trying to add value in every single possible way that I can.
Is that something that they kind of just let you do on your own? They're just like, if you get on first base, they're just like, hey, if you want to steal, or is it something that they kind of had to tell you specifically, like, hey, you can go steal, or is that just kind of like a team mentality of if you think you can do it, do it?
It's more so like, yeah, if you can do it, like, go for it. Like, show your tools off. And like, it is. So I asked my manager, I was like, hey, like, do you care? Because Chavi is literally the most chill guy you could ever talk to. Like, he is sick to have as a manager. He has his behind high five. Like, he's just out there. Like, Chavi is out there having more fun than all of the players, which is so fun to play for a guy like that. Like, if you're playing for a guy that's there, and like for me it was big because like I don't really like have that super like cocky mentality, or like I don't come off that way. Like, I don't have that extra boost of like I'm that guy. And Chavi is the guy that will literally bring that out of you. Like, if you don't have it yet, he'll bring it out of you, and if you already have it, he'll give you more of it. Like, I mean, it's awesome. Like, when you see guys walk out there and they're playing for Salem and Chavi's their manager, like, I guarantee you, if Chavi wasn't the manager, we wouldn't have nearly as much confidence walking out there as we do. I mean, literally, like, you'll be struggling, you'll be like, "Chavi, I sucked last night," and he's like, "We still love you." Like, he's just that guy, so, no, I loved playing for Chavi, and, like, he kinda gave me that free range. He was like, "Can you run, Poppy?" I was like, "Yeah, I can run, like, I run pretty good," and he was like, "Then steal bags." I was like, "Okay," and then from there, it was every time I got on first base and we had a good scouting report on the guy on the bump, like, they make it pretty easy. I mean, in our advanced scouting report, they give us the tells, and, like, they don't miss very often. Like, Schmidt's pretty dialed in on that, and Chavi is too, so they let you know. I mean, if he's gonna be a one look 90% of the time, we'll take advantage of it, and I just loved having that extra tool in the bag to use if they were gonna give me that.
And then I'll let Jake ask you the last one, but I'm just curious if you have a specific pregame routine. Like we've talked to a lot of guys who they have to listen to a certain thing, or they have a specific workout, or they have to eat something specific. And then there's other guys that are just like, no, I wake up and I go to the field and I go out there. And I'm just curious if you have any specific quirks that you feel like need to be done. I know the old it's a stereotype for a reason. Baseball players are very superstitious. So I'm just curious what you have in your bag.
I always this is bad, but I always gotta throw a dip in. Like, if I'm not like, that's my thing. Like, I mean, I'm from the South. Like, it's pretty normal down here, and like, I gotta throw one in. Like, if I don't have one in to start the game, like, it's just a weird feeling. It's just that sense of comfort that you have. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was doing it in college when you're not supposed to be doing it. Like, that's you in the NAI. Do you think they care that like you have a dip in? Like, this guy was umpiring the SEC 2 years ago. Like, he's just taking a break from it. He's like, I just want to come out here and like make a couple bucks on the weekend. Like, I mean, some of the umpires I had in the NAI, they reeked of cigs, like, when they got behind the dish, so it's like, they didn't really care, and, like, we're just out there to have fun for the most part. Like, we're not out there most of these guys don't look at NAI baseball as like, "Yeah, I can't wait to hit 3 homers today and get scouts." Like, there's no scouts at our games. So, yeah, like, I gotta throw a dip in, and, like, that's my thing. Like, once I throw in grizzly wintergreen, I'm good.
He's even got the flavor down.
Yeah.
Whatever works, right? I don't really, I think we're probably going to wrap up here in a second. I don't really have another question. I'll just say, like, I think that you're in the right spot. And I think you're in the best spot you can be in, not just the way that the Red Sox develop players in the minor leagues. You've seen it. You look at what the major league team is right now, and guys that are either, have contributed at the big league level or they're close to it. There are plenty of guys that weren't drafted that have made their way through the Red Sox system, through other systems to be in the majors. And I think that the Red Sox, like I said earlier, the Red Sox as an organization, the catching depth, had been a real issue. And you mentioned there's been some other trades, some other guys coming in this offseason, including this trade that just happened tonight. But I think that you're in a great spot. I think you have a huge you have a great opportunity in the Red Sox organization, and and just talking to you, you have the right attitude, the right head on your shoulders, the desire to be better. And I think that I think we're not objective here at the Pesky Report. We're all Red Sox fans, and we want everybody to succeed. And I think that you have I think just talking to you, you certainly have the right attitude and the right mindset to do what it takes to advance in the system and move quickly. So we're all going to be pulling for you and watching you closely going forward. So just wanted to say that.
Thanks, Jake. I appreciate it.
Yeah, just wanted to, Jordan, you're good, right? We're good. Okay, yeah. Just want to thank you for coming on. Is there anything else you want to let the fans know? Anything you want to shout out?
Well, I'll let them know they're not gonna find any other rednecks that are going to work as hard as I do. So so if the people of Salem or and the people of Boston, they like rednecks, well, I'm here and like I'm trying to make my way through the system, and I'll just be down here grinding. So hopefully the name is a little bit bigger in a couple years.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna toss it to Jordan for the outro because I usually don't do this, and I know that there's the whole subscribing and everything, so I'm gonna let you handle that.
All right, sounds good. Before I do wrap it up, I do want to thank you for joining us, Caleb, and being flexible with the jumbled up rotation that we had tonight. It was kind of a scramble job getting us all together, but it was a great time. Really enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time with us.
Of course.
Yeah, it's awesome, and we will like Jake said, we will be pulling for you in the future, and looking forward to watching you develop in 2026 and beyond for the Red Sox. But yeah, that'll do it for this edition of the Pesky Report. Again, episode 534, presented by Beyond the Monster. You can follow us on Twitter at The Pesky Report, also on Instagram at The Pesky Report. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like, comment, do all the things that Hunter wouldn't have told you to do if he was doing the outro. But for everybody involved, I'm Jordan. Until next time, peace out and go Sox.